But
What's your husband's name?
Samuel.
Samuel.
Mm-hmm.
Samuel.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I got a chance to meet him.
Yeah, you did.
Before he
Mm-hmm.
passed on.
Before he got sick.
Great,
Mm-hmm.
great man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of personality.
Very much so.
Yeah, very educated. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand that he got you flowers every day
No,
or every week.
I got flowers. I'll tell you, no less than once a month, and usually 2 or 3 times a month. And I mean,
Love it.
towards the end, every Sunday or Saturday, he would go and buy me roses every Saturday and Sunday. One of those days, and even the day he died, after he had been pronounced and everything, my son happened to go out to the car. My roses for that day were in the car because we were going to go out to dinner. And so,
I gotta take notes on that, yeah.
bottom line is that what he did was he treated me like a lady. He taught me how to be a lady, and he taught me how to be a wife and a mother, and he honored that part of me, you know, and he valued that part of me, which taught me how to value myself even better. You know, and I'm sure, I know from reading this journal, I did the same for him as a man.
Absolutely.
You know,
really.
and he said one day, nobody could ever take care of me like you. And in his journal, he wrote that I was a Proverbs 31 woman. And so that's, I love you a million times over. I'll never forget it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but life goes on.
Life goes on.
Life goes on.
I got a couple of questions. I want to talk about social isolation.
Mm.
And did you feel socially isolated at some point?
In my mother's loss, yeah, in my mother's death, because see, homicide is something, it was like a piranha in the scheme of death, like it was with AIDS. If people didn't know what to do, what do you say to somebody who's lost someone to homicide? How do you comfort someone who's lost someone to homicide? And especially if you've never been there, and then if you're confused by the fact I haven't been there, you don't know what to do, what do you say to them? And so what people don't do, they don't say anything to you. You know, or they say things like, oh, I remember listening to people saying, oh, your mom passed away. I thought, she didn't pass away. She was taken away. And see, and I was very vocal. I didn't let people tell me that. And I remember they were sitting there and said, oh, it was Juanita's time to go. And you know, the Lord took her and stuff like that. And I said, oh, so you're saying Jesus is a murderer? Nobody wanted to hear that.
No, they didn't want to mess with you with that.
They backed up off of that. What the bottom line was, I never said my mother died. I always say she was murdered. And that's because she was. My daddy died.
Yes.
My 3 sisters, they died. My brother, he died. My brother and sister-in-law, they died. My husband, they died. Okay?
Yes, right.
My mother was murdered. Plain and simple as that. Bottom line, that's 9 people. I miss them all. I love them all. But there's a definite difference between how Juanita died and the rest of them.
Yes. Well, can we deal with some myths now?
Oh, yeah.
94%, according to your statistics, indicate that black on black violence happens with black on black, and 88% white on white. And you know, so it's not racial.
No, those are national statistics. They're not mine. Those are the ones I went and looked at the Center for Disease Control. Homicide has been a national epidemic for a long time. And the crime tends to be between people who know each other or people of the same race, because people don't tend to come out of their neighborhoods that much to go murder somebody that's not like them. I mean, when you hear about these crimes where people have murdered somebody not like them, it's usually something really extraordinary. But most people are killed by somebody they know. Even if it's a mere acquaintance, it's by somebody you know. Murders happen 2 ways. It's either a blitz attack or it's a planned attack. And by a blitz attack, it's like what happened in that school. Somebody came up there and just began shooting up. No preparation for that. Or it's a confidence attack. And by confidence, you know the person, they reeled you in, and then they killed you.
I felt that. I don't know if you did out there, but
Yeah, so you
because,
trust them.
yeah, right, you
It's the
trust
same way
them.
a rape happens.
Right.
You out with somebody you think is really safe, and you don't have no idea that this person would would rape you. It's the same way with murder. You have no idea. There's nothing about this person that would tell you that they would kill you, but they did.
Yeah. This is an interesting season because even Me Too is violation, and people are being misused and abused left and right, and it takes a lot to be able to overcome. I've been looking at
Work through.
Yeah, work through.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
You don't overcome.
You know, as black folks, we use I'll overcome. You know, but
have we overcome slavery?
No, we haven't.
All right,
no, we haven't. So whites kill whites, blacks kill black.
Asians kill Asians.
Right. Yeah. So it's domestic violence that happens, and maybe that might be the foundation in Chicago of what is going on, the overwhelming numbers of problems that's happening because they're attacking it from.
I mean, guess what? If you kill somebody that looks like you, who are you killing?
You're killing yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Well,
Well.
I'm talking about.
Well,
But the myth, a lot of people, some of the myths are have to do with that, or the myths that it's true in domestic violence and homes and things that husbands tend to kill wives more than wives kill husbands. But wives do kill husbands. Don't fool yourself.
They do.
Oh yeah, I worked in the morgue. When I worked in that morgue, I had a mother and a daughter-in-law come in.
Yeah.
And I always would ask, do you know who murdered this person? And they said, oh yeah, we know. I said, well, who was it? The lady said, me. And the mama said he was a so-and-so and he deserved it. And I was just like, well, I thought I would never ask that question again.
Yeah.
Because I was, at that point, I was kind of like, how am I going to help this woman?
Mm-hmm.
But the Holy Ghost had an answer,
Thank God.
And I was able to help both of them.
Yeah.
But
That's so interesting because I've dealt with a lot of families as well.
Yeah, women
And
kill.
I won't say the particular case, but it was hard for the mother to not put a hit on the man that killed her daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just constantly saying, don't do it.
That's not acceptable. One murder doesn't take care of another murder. It's in the first place, when we kill somebody, we might as well have killed ourselves, because there's two things you can't give back. You can't give back the innocence of life, and you can't give back the innocence of virginity. If you take those two things, you take everything.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I remember Maya Angelou talking about when her virginity was taken, that she went into herself. She told her uncles and the men of the family about this boyfriend of her mother that took advantage of her. And then she looked around and the man was gone, never to be seen again. And she just saw her uncles and stuff sitting around the table eating, and she looked at them and she said, oh, what have I done? And she went silent for a whole year.
Yeah.
And what she did is she just started writing, and that developed the artist that she became.
And that's what happens with a lot of people who are willing to work through their grief and their mourning, is they begin to identify resources, rich resources within their soul, things that they may never have tapped into, and discoveries about themselves that they have to give back to the world and to other people. They become artists, they become musicians, they do a lot of things. If you think about some of the musicians and people in life today, their history is rich with things like this. And yet, from that, a creativity was born.
We talked about creativity. I think that's great, but there's shock. Shock neutralizes one, and it takes away the pain for a while.
Yeah, it's like getting anesthesia. It's God's way of giving you anesthesia. It deadens everything long enough for you to accomplish a major social event in your life, a funeral. And that's true regardless of how a person dies. Because if you really think about the nature of putting together a funeral or a memorial service, it takes a whole lot of energy. And it takes a whole lot of planning, and you have to do it in short order.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of hosting people, greeting people. And so during a time in your life when you're at your most, when you're in your valley experience, the low place,
Mm-hmm.
you're called to go into a high place
Mm-hmm.
and do something extraordinary, as putting your loved one away.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk about these different stages, because what stages do one go through when they have lost a loved one?
Well, okay, there are two things. First, there's what you call the Kubler-Ross stages of grief, which really had to do with dying people and how they face their end of life. And that's shock, denial,
Mm-hmm.
anger,
Mm-hmm.
guilt, and acceptance. Now, where that ends with a dying person, it begins with a person who has to face the loss of a loved one. They begin in acceptance. And there are four tasks of mourning that they have to do according to, now I won't remember right now, but anyway, I have a book called Grief Counseling and Grief Therapy. And in that book, it talks about William Wharton. He's a PhD psychiatrist who is also a thanatologist, a death educator, and counselor. And he said there are four things that every person has to do regardless of the nature of their loss. So if you have a divorce, if you have relocation, you fail in school, you lose your job, you lose someone to death, you have to do these four things. And the first thing you have to do is accept the reality of the loss and that it is permanent. You're never going to go back. You're never going to go back, no matter what. Second, you have to be willing, and this is an umbilical cord with twins. First is acceptance. The other part is you have to experience the pain. You can't reign in denial. You have to embrace it. You have to allow yourself to feel what you feel. Because the truth is that if you block those bad feelings, you imprison your opportunity to have good feelings, because they reside in the same place, in the heart. The third task of mourning is to adjust to an environment where your loved one is not going to return. And the final task are so-called
I know about that.
Of mourning.
Yeah.
Right, they're not coming back no matter what you think. And see, I'll give you a really good example. Person gets divorced. That person is still living and walking around, and you're seeing them. And so there's always this little tiny hope for a reunion, you know. And then guess what? They get back together and they get married. But guess what? They end up divorced again. Why? Because what was dead was dead. If it's dead, it's dead. And so you have to just deal with it. So the fourth task of mourning is adaptation. You adapt to a new life. You begin to build a new life. As you have worked through the pain, now you're beginning the journey of reconnection, the journey of reconnection to yourself, to your God, and to humanity. I guess how could I say that? I am not at that stage right now as far as my husband's loss is, but let me tell you what I do. I love him,
yes,
but I pour my loving into the people around me.
I see.
See, so I'm not going to hide in a closet and not love on the people who are right here, right now, to love me. So my grandchildren, my children, my friends, my family, everything I do.
How do you get there?
You make a choice.
Okay.
Healing is a choice.
Okay.
It doesn't just happen. Every day you have to make a choice. Every morning I cry. And the reason I cry is because every morning my husband and I had devotions and prayer and breakfast, and he would walk me to my car and pray for me before I went to work.
Yes, yes.
Every morning I cry. And then I spend my time with God for an hour and a half, and I can go to work. I'm fine.
Yeah.
But I have to make a choice to do that every day.
Yes.
I have to make the choice
Yes.
to live again every day.
Yes.
You know, it's not going to just happen. It don't just happen. Time does not take care of it.
Yes.
Choice. choice to love again.
That dedication to put those slippers.
Discipline.
Denzel Washington said, put those house slippers so far under the bed that you have to get on your knees to get them.
Well, see, guess what the reality is? Everything that belonged to him is gone. Other than some pictures and stuff like that, I gave them away. He is not here. He cannot use them. There's no sense in them sitting around and dry rotting. And so in 2 months, I had help. I got rid of all the things that we're givers. Sam and I were givers. So I gave it so that people could have it.
Yes.
That's what I did.
Yes.
But, you know, everybody can't do it like I did. That don't make it the right, you know, understand this. That doesn't make it the right way to do it.
Sure.
It just happened to work for Wanda Cheryl. It works for me.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, you know.
I changed the furniture around.
Yeah.
In the house, you know.
Well, if Sam came back now, he wouldn't recognize the house. It's not the house that he lived in.
Yes.
It's my house.
Yes. Wow.
You know, now he'd be glad I do have his picture up in the living room, but it is my house. But
so you trust your emotions?
I trust God.
Okay.
With my emotions.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm not afraid of my emotions. I'm not afraid to be real. I learned the lesson. 200 pounds after I learned the lesson. So, you know, on this end, because I've been losing weight for a few years, instead of gaining weight, I'm continuing to lose weight. My daughter looked up there, she said, Mom, those pants and that shirt, she said, they're about to fall down. I said, I know. I said, they're going to have to drop, and when they do that, I get the next size down. I've changed 6 sizes in the past 4 years already. And I said, when I put this dress on today, I said, I'm going to have to give this one up eventually.
It looks good.
Today, it looks good. It didn't always look like this, but today it looks good.
Yes.
But the thing is that healing is a choice. You're going to hurt. You know what? No matter what goes on in my life, if someday I should ever, you know, have another husband or something, Sam is always going to be the first love of my life.
Sure.
But in its proper place.
Yes, yes. So, avoiding people. I saw it in your book. Why avoid certain people that will take control over your life? Why do that?
Because you're in a vulnerable place. First, when you have a loss, I don't care who the loss is, whether it's your child or your family member or whatever, you're vulnerable. And so you'll wake up one day wondering how this person got control of your life. And so you have to make some decisions about what's right for you. And sometimes that's why solitude is such a good place. It says, Henri Nouwen, a Catholic priest, wrote in the book, The Way of the Heart, that solitude is the furnace of transformation. And I wrote a paper this week, and I said that solitude is the furnace of transformation. Silence is the fire in the furnace, and prayer are the coals that heat it up.
My Lord.
You make a choice.
What a picture.
When you let yourself experience time alone, because guess what? Sometimes you need alone. You know, couples, I'll give you a good example. A couple loses a child. It's very hard on their marriage. Because each one of those couples each one of those persons in the couple are going through the loss for themselves. They can't feel what the other one is feeling. And one of the problems is that when they try to, it keeps them from feeling what they're feeling. And they don't have to feel what that other person. A father who's lost a son, he has lost his image. Here's what he created. A mother has lost her baby that she carried in her womb.
Yeah, yeah.
The daddy has lost his seed.
Yes.
And so they are both experiencing the loss of the same person, but from different perspectives, not right or wrong. And that's why they have to talk about it and share. You know, and men don't need to hide their feelings and pretend like it's not happening, because guess what? It's going to come out some kind of way.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, you know, our next segment, we're going to actually talk with husband and wife. I thought about this, and I said, Lord, I think I'm going to do like Oprah. I got an expert. I said, I'm gonna bring her into this one and be a part of it, because you know, I think that there's a lot of help that you can give. And I, you know, I want to thank you so much for sharing your life, sharing about your life, and how you have taken time to show forgiveness. Thank you, Lord.
It's not for that person, that's for you. Forgiveness is not about the other person. Forgiveness frees me. Forgiveness cut the umbilical cord to the murderer. I'm not attached to the murderer. You know who I love? My mother.
Yeah.
See, I don't consider myself a survivor. I don't consider myself a co-victim. I consider myself the daughter of Juanita and Wade Henry.
Yes.
That's who I am. Yes, I am the daughter of a murder victim, but that was for one moment in time. For 23 years, I was the daughter of Juanita Suswell Henry. And today, I am the daughter of Juanita and Wade Henry. That's who I am. I'm not a co-victim because I'm not suffering under the weight of murder. If I'm redeemed and I'm released to be able to share with others, the scripture says this: God is the Father of compassion. He is the God of all comfort, who comforts us in our trials, that when we have been comforted of God, we may comfort others who are in any trouble with the same comfort whereby God has comforted us. That's why I know that what I provide is not my power, but God's power and God's peace and God's healing. He is the God that heals us.
Can you look at that camera? Last words or prayer or whatever you would like to share to the masses of folks that listen.
I'll just say this: I heard a man take the Black National Anthem as a prayer. God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, gone were the days when hope unborn had died. The point being that for survivors of murder victims and others who are experiencing the loss of a loved one, you have weary years, you have silent tears, but those days will be gone if you just trust and believe in one another, believe in God, and love one another fully as you remember the person who died and love them. That would be my prayer for you.
Reverend Wanda Jenkins. Reverend Wanda Jenkins, thank you so very much for your story, and we certainly thank you for the many books that you've had, and I forgot to bring them in order to show the camera, but can you give us the name of a few of the books before we leave?
Well, just the two that count for this particular session. Well, Just Us, Understanding and Overcoming Homicidal Loss and Grief. And then, but the most recent book came out in 2015, which is My Story, My Song, Daughter of a Murder Victim, Grief, Grace, and Growth After Homicidal Loss. I think that's the most important book that's out there. You can get it on Amazon.com. All I can tell you is that before the book, reach inside your own heart and touch it and let yourself feel what you feel, and don't apologize to anybody for what you feel.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. God bless. We'll be right back.
Okay. Y'all stay right there for a second. Just for a second. Okay, thank you.
My hands weren't cold when I shook